Hey Catholic Heart, my name is Jenna Preslicka. I'm a 22-year-old from Savage, Minnesota. I'm currently in St. Louis. I'm a senior at St. Louis University studying public health, Spanish, and physical therapy. And while that's all really important, here are a couple things I think define me better. I can recite almost the entire movie of Finding Nemo and most other Disney movies. I love doing puzzles, even though I've never actually finished this one. I cry pretty much every time I laugh. One thing that makes me laugh every time, no matter what, is a video of a baby covered in peanut butter. Trust me, look it up right when you're done watching this. I love to nap. I'm obsessed with the Minnesota Vikings, no matter how much they let me down. I'm a barista in a cute little coffee shop in an old abandoned church, and I question anyone who orders decaf. I have 4 younger siblings, 2 wonderful parents, and a cute little puppy named Luna. And I also have a passion for service. My goal in life, when I'm a grown-up and it all comes together, is to spend my life serving people who are the least served in the world. That's why I'm learning Spanish to work with Spanish-speaking populations and studying health so I can care for others. And my plan after I graduate in May is to dedicate a part of my life just to serving others. I'm still considering programs, but they probably won't be religious-based. In my mind, I'll still be serving to be like Jesus, but it won't be explicitly known to the people that I'm serving. I'll be there helping as a person, not necessarily as a servant of God. And that's one of the reasons I want to be on staff for Catholic Art Work Camp this summer, to have the ability to work as God's servant with faith and God at the center of it all. It would be amazing to get to serve like Jesus with people knowing that is why. I have an amazing history with Catholic Heart. I attended all 4 years in high school, and it was kind of the jump start to my faith life. I can't remember why I signed up for the trip. I didn't know much about it and didn't really have any good friends going. But I did, and I'm so glad that for whatever reason, I put my name on the list. And that helped get me involved in other things in my youth group, especially as a leader. After high school, I graduated and came here to St. Louis University, which is a Jesuit university. And my faith has really been shaped by this Jesuit mission, realizing the importance of being a woman for others, and serving God in everything that I do through helping others. One of the reasons I'm being called to apply for staff this summer comes from my experience this past summer having the chance to be a chaperone for my church from home. I was at work in May, and my youth minister left a voicemail saying he had an opening to be a chaperone and wondering if I'd be willing to be one. I was super excited, but super scared. Having been at Catholic Heart Work Camp before, I had a lot of expectations, and I knew it would be super different as a chaperone. And I was also really intimidated. I knew my faith would pale in comparison to some of the high schoolers, and I was scared to have to be a model in Christ. But I felt called to say yes, and I'm glad I did because it was an amazing experience. I got to see camp in an entirely different way. I was more in the background as a chaperone, but I still felt like I was having an impact on the high schoolers. This is the group that I worked with. They totally accepted me as their chaperone, even though I was only 4 years older than them. They took anything that I threw at them and were so willing to do anything to help. And they were super willing to share. I learned a lot from them about their lives and their faith, and I hope I was also able to share something of value. During the week, I was most scared for 4 corners. I knew I didn't have to take a candle, but I felt like I was being called to do it. Right before 4 corners, I was freaking out. I texted some friends for prayers, and one friend told me to find peace in God, and He will say what He needs to through me. So when a couple of girls walked up to me, I told God that I needed Him and went from there. This experience helped me realize that being that age as a chaperone was an amazing gift. It hasn't been that long since I was in their shoes and experiencing the same struggles. And I also realized the importance of having summer staff as younger leaders. We have a little bit more experience, but are still able to think back and reflect on our lives at their age. And I think that's what I would be most intimidated as coming in as a staff member, but I feel like I already conquered that. I think I have a lot of qualities that would make me a great staff member. I'm used to working constantly. Every summer I work over 60 hours a week. I've been a camp counselor before for younger kids, but I understand the work that goes into putting on something for others to enjoy. I have the energy to make the smallest tasks fun and with a purpose. I can have the energy on stage. I can talk to anyone and everyone, and I'm willing and ready to do any type of work needed. So I actually had a plan written out yesterday about everything I wanted to say, and then I went to 9 p.m. Mass on campus, and their readings and homily were so relevant to what I was feeling, knowing that I was having to film this video. Over the past couple weeks, I've been trying to think of what can I say to make me stand out, what makes me more unique than someone else applying, and how can I make that known. The readings talked about seeking humility and being called by God not because you were wise or powerful, but being called because God chose us. And in the homily, the priest talked about how we all humbly brag. We don't necessarily want to brag about things, but we like people to know about our accomplishments and good qualities. So in this video, I'm making myself look good and telling you all of my strengths. But the homily spoke to me on the importance of boasting of our frailty and making it known that we are imperfect. The priest said we need to acknowledge our weakness and lack of power, and God will work through that. I am not a perfect Catholic or a perfect person. I'm probably not the most qualified applicant, and I'm not the most outgoing person ever, but I love God. I love people. I have the passion and the drive to work hard for Catholic Heart, and I want to do this. I want to give of myself this summer. I'm being called after graduation to serve, and having the opportunity to give back to an organization that has done so much for me would be incredible. I want to humble myself for the summer and really focus on doing everything for God, even the smallest and most tedious things that may seem irrelevant. And I want to be an example of Christ for high schoolers. I may not change their lives, but maybe my service or my words might spark one little thing to help them on their faith journey. I want to thank you for considering me for summer staff, and I may not be perfect, but I think Catholic Heart may be the perfect fit.